what if we are the experiment, right?
In 1968, a scientist built paradise. Unlimited food, unlimited water, no predators, no disease, perfect climate. Everything any living creature could ever want. Within 4 years, every single inhabitant was dead. They didn't die of starvation. They didn't die of disease. They didn't die from fighting over resources. They died of prosperity. And if you look at the American labor market right now, if you look at global birth rates, we aren't just studying this experiment anymore. We are the experiment. And according to the data, we just entered the final phase.
So this experiment is pretty chilling, right? But I've got some beef with it, right? It has to do with a couple of different things. One of them being sunlight, right? Okay, so Jack Kruse, really interesting guy, has some things to say about sunlight itself. He even will go so far as to say that experiments done under LED lights could actually be thrown out because they really are affecting the whole thing.
All the studies that are being done on like rats and mice and stuff are being done like under blue light. So a lot of the evidence and like research is being done on mammals that are not in their natural environment. So do you kind of believe that a lot of those studies are just like can be thrown out the window and they're just not accurate?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be things in those studies that you can glean that'll be half truths. But the problem is, and I made this case to Huberman when I did the podcast with him and Rick, that their friend Eddie Chang, who's a neurosurgeon, said that 50% of the literature is toast and the implications that are incalculable. I said it's 99% for this reason. Why? Because every single study done by modern centralized science since, I'm going to tell you, 1900 has been done under blue light.
So what I've gotten from listening to Jack Kruse is the fact that sunlight is very important. So now when it's 40 degrees out, if the sun's out, my shirt's off. Doesn't matter how cold it is, I'm getting that sun. Not only that, but I've gone ahead and actually swapped out my LED lights for incandescent bulbs. Whether you do the same is entirely up to you. But if you look at the experiment done on these mice, right, and how things ended up, I think a huge part is sunlight in connection to nature. That's why I'm outside right now, right? Our connection to nature is vitally important, not only to our body, but also to our peace of mind. The trees themselves have a communication, and everything around us is communicating with us all the time. We're made of energy and vibration, and it's not just trees. It's not just, oh, here's the forest and that's it. I mean, look at the Japanese and their forest bathing and some of the things that come along. I mean, look at this, the magnificence of nature itself. And you want to reduce it to, it's just wood. It's just wood, so we can just, anyway, that just boggles my mind. Nature is important. It's important to get out here, be in it. And those mice, they might have been comfortable and all, but they didn't have a connection to nature and to sunlight. I just think that that's a factor. I could be wrong, but I think it's a factor. The other factor, which I find highly encouraging, is the conclusion of the experiment as a whole, which is this. When it came down to it, the end of the day, it was all about identity and meaning in lives. Meaning had been lost, right? Identity, it didn't matter. Meaning is so important. And so when you look at our society today, how many people just don't want to be in their jobs? They're just doing it just to make a paycheck and pay the bills and so on, right? I mean, you see it all over. Well, that's no good, right? What meaning does that actually translate to? If it doesn't translate to meaning, guess what you end up with? You end up with Universe 25. And in the end, guess what happened with Universe 25? Well, it was a dystopia, right? It was a dystopia. Meaning is so important. Purpose is so important. And so when you look at that experiment, that's one of the things that we're lacking. Those mice don't have the agency that we do, right? But here's my pitch to you, right? And that has to do with creating meaning by creating. Through content creation, however it might be for you, that meaning can be created. Meaning the very act of creating creates meaning and so on. And when you just start in on that process, it actually reveals so much. Rather than just thinking, oh, it has to be a certain way or it has to be perfect, or I'll start later once I've analyzed this and analyzed that and so on. But you have so many different creators who they just start creating and it transforms their lives. And part of that, I believe, is because of the meaning aspect. It really enlivens them and makes them go further and connect with people in new ways. And that meaning actually can save us. So basically, I'm saying, in a way, that creating on YouTube, let's say, could actually save your life, could save all our lives. But creating in general, I think, can. Painting, whatever, dance, it's all therapy in a way, but in therapy because it reaches to a deeper part of ourselves. It reaches to a deeper part of who we are, who and what we are. So when you think about those mice, the Universe 25, and in the end, they all die, and it's not good, and there's just, I definitely listened to the whole video. It is kind of depressing, but I think at the end, through, sunlight, nature, and our own creative agency, we're not going to be like those mice at all. In fact, I believe our future is a lot brighter than any of us can imagine. I believe that we're going to have things revealed this year that are just going to blow our minds. And how do I know? Well, I don't know. None of us know, right? But there's this feeling in the air, right? There's this ongoing electricity, this ongoing electrifying feeling that something's going to happen. Big reveals are going to happen. And it just feels exciting. This year feels really exciting. It feels like, something's afoot. Something's good. Something, I don't know. There's a lot of prosperity on the horizon. There's a lot more behind the scenes than we know for sure. But when you use your gut, when you use beyond the logical mind, let me know in the comments what you think. I mean, is the Universe 25 and those mice, is that our actual end result? Are we going to go the way of the mice and just, despite everything, end up just dying because we have no will to procreate anymore or actually ability to procreate? I mean, what's going on with that? A lot of that has to do with maybe, a lot of different things. But I, for one, am actually really inspired that we don't go the way of the mice. But we do have to take agency and get out in nature, get out in the sun, and create. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like, pass it on to someone who you think might find it useful, and I'll see you next time.